Should Devin Vassell remain on the bench or back in the starting unit?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kings 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Hope you're having a great Friday. And by the way, TGIF, and ready for the weekend. As always, we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Kings 5 Plus app, YouTube. You know where to go. Subscribe right now. And also subscribe to the Locked On Spurs newsletter. It's in the description below if you're on the YouTube side of things. Click on that link. It's totally free. Nice little companion piece for you guys right here at Locked On Spurs. Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhoodgold.com/gold. So I am almost back to 100%. I've been sick the last few days. As I remember, I did a video a couple days ago, and that's what I thought I was going to be clear, but then it just hit me. And then yesterday was an audio, but I'm going to try to make it work on this episode. I'm coming off that IR list, feeling under the weather still, but hopefully you guys are staying, because something's going around in San Antonio. I mean, a lot of people are getting sick. So whatever it is, I got it. So I'm going to give it my old college try right here to keep it a video. And yeah, but you're not here for a medical update. You're here for your San Antonio Spurs. What are we talking about today? We're going to be discussing Devin Vassell. Should he remain on or off the bench? And then preview tonight's game, Spurs-Blazers. Yes, the Spurs are back in action after a long days off. So Devin Vassell, back from injury. He has been coming off the bench. He has been on a minutes restriction. He has yet to crack that starting unit since his return. Now, the numbers show that he does make an impact in the starting unit, but the numbers also show positive stuff off the bench. Now, the Spurs have one thing going for them this season, that's depth. Mitch Johnson told me a few days ago that he sees that second unit as a big weapon for the team. Should the Vassell, bench experiment for now continue to bolster that second unit? Think about it. The first unit is fine. They're completely fine. They're one of the best starting fives, plus minus category in the NBA. And you look at Vassell, would he harm that? It's a situation of don't fix what's not broken. That includes leaving Devin Vassell on that bench. Let's discuss that and more with our guest. He is back, everybody, after a long hiatus. Jack Thompson, formerly with San Antonio Spurs.
What up?
Jack, we missed you here.
What up, my man? Missed y'all too.
It's not for lack of trying, everybody. I did try to get him on. I have, as you kids say, I have the receipts. And
You do have the receipts. You do
I
have
have
the
the
receipts.
receipts. But look,
But I'm back.
You're back. That's all that matters. Again, make sure to follow him on X at Jack_Thompson33. Do that right now. And yeah, see, we missed the three goggles. We missed the three goggles, and we missed that since he's been gone. But Jack, you're here on a good time because A, the Spurs are back in action after 4 days off, and two, it's kind of been the talk of the town among the Spurs fans is what to do with Vassell. As I said in the intro, the starting unit, stats-wise, is one of the better ones in the NBA. And so far the Spurs, Mitch Johnson hasn't tinkered with that. Sure, there's injuries and maybe you got to throw somebody out there, but for the most part, they kept the usual starting five of Wemby, Castle, Champagny, who am I missing? Chris Paul and Wemby. So there you have it. Is this a situation where you don't fix what's not broken, Jack? Should Vassell come back in that starting unit?
Yeah, I definitely think this is a don't fix what's not broken scenario. I mean, like you said, our starting five has one of the best plus minuses in the league. It's, dispersed really well. I would say, having Julian and Harrison in there as, knockdown shooters to stretch the floor for Wemby. You got Chris Paul running the show and Castle as the de facto distributor and driver to the basket as well. I think it just all meshes really well. I think, Devin, obviously he's good enough to start. He's probably the second best player on our team, but he comes off the bench. I mean, if we move Devin to the starting lineup first of all, who are you taking out of the starting lineup that's been playing so well? And second, where does the scoring punch come from off the bench? Because I mean, I think Devin and Keldon are probably, I mean, up there with two of the best bench players in the league. To have guys like that with so much starting experience coming off the bench is huge for a team like ours. So no, I'm a huge proponent of keeping Devin on as that 6-man role.
You know, Jack, I agree with you. I think it is a situation where you don't fix what's not broken. This unit, starting 5 unit, has just been well. You got the floor spacer, you got your distributors, you got it all to surround Wemby. Good job. The numbers prove that. But Jack, I throw this at you. This is the best starting unit that Devin is a part of. This is the 5-man unit here. Vassell, Barnes, CP3, Wemby, and Sochan. That's a plus 15. Now, that unit, Jack, has only played 4 minutes together, but it has a plus or minus of 15. What do you think about that? Do you think it's a situation where just plug him no matter what? If he's a starting unit, fine. If he's a second unit, fine. He's going to make an impact no matter what.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the name of the game. He's coming in, he's making a positive impact. And yeah, I mean, it's always, I've always heard from, my dad or any other coaches, like, it's not about who starts the game, it's about who finishes. And we're going to see Devin finishing games. It's just like Manu. Manu was clearly better than everyone who played ahead of him, but his impact was just greater coming off the bench. And I think we have found a role like that for Devin Vassell, in which his scoring punch, his defense, his veteran leadership, all of that is more useful coming off the bench. So I would like to see this continuing.
You know what? And if we throw more numbers out there, Jack, now this is interesting. Okay, now I'll give you the minutes, all right, just so you understand. That could be the full picture here. But when Devin is on the court, and he's been on the court for 216 minutes this season, the Spurs have a plus minus of minus 74. Now, when he's off the court, 936 minutes, the Spurs are plus 33. What do you make of that?
For me, that just comes down to Devin he's a tough shot taker and maker.
Yeah.
He knows he's not a spot up shooter. He's not a guy that's going to dish out a bunch of assists tonight or a night or grab a bunch of rebounds to get that plus minus up. He's a tough shot maker. He's a scorer. That's what we drafted him to be. He defends and he scores, and that's what we have him in the second unit too. He's one of those players where the plus minus kind of, I would say, doesn't tell the full story on the game that he's played because of the timely shots that he makes, the timely deflections that he has on defense. So I'm not worried about, his plus minus, because he's not a plus type of player, because he doesn't really contribute a whole lot more on the offensive end other than hitting these, tough, timely shots.
Absolutely. He is Jack Thompson, formerly with San Antonio Sports Star. Make sure to follow him on X at Jack_Thompson33. Do that right now. When we get back, we're going to continue our chat about Devin Vassell and should he start, should he come off the bench, just some more thoughts on the Spurs swingman, and also preview tonight's game, Spurs Blazers. That's later on in this episode. But first, I want to talk to you about Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get rates that perks usually reserve for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhoodgold.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rates may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Jack Thompson. Follow him on X at Jack_Thompson33. Make sure you do that right now. We're talking about Devin Vassell. Where is his spot on this roster? Starter, bench player? And we're kind of the agreement of don't fix what's not broken. The starting unit has been pretty doing well, but he's one of the highest paid guys on the roster. I mean, I think he might be the highest, I think, right now. You think it's a bad look for having one of your highest paid players coming off that bench?
I think everything is covered up by W's. So we keep winning. Exactly. The formula keeps meshing. I think, no, I haven't even thought about that once this season, to be honest, that Devin's our highest paid guy off the bench. Everything's working like it should be. The Spurs are, 100% better than they were last year at this point. So, yeah, I have no problem with our highest paid guy for the time being coming off the bench.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, after a recent practice, he looked like he had no problem still coming off that bench. As a matter of fact, he addressed the big elephant in the room about the Spurs' slow starts. As I can see when the starting unit is having a tough time out there to start the games, inject energy. And look, not a bad second unit if it stays that way. You got Devin, Keldon, Mamu. What else you got? Blake, Trey Jones when he comes back. Malachi, Zach.
What are we doing with Jeremy too? Like, the starting five without Jeremy was killing it. So does Jeremy come off the bench now too? I mean, I'm kind of fine with that because we need the spacing with Wemby. Yep. I think that's one of the nastiest bench units in the league with Devin, Keldon, and Jeremy.
Yeah, it is.
With Trey and Bassey or Zach, that's crazy. Those are starters from 3 years ago.
Yeah. Exactly. And so, again, weapon. That is a big weapon, the second unit. Now, this season, Vassell has played 9 games off the bench. He's averaging about 24 minutes. So he's getting his minutes out there. But he's averaging 16.6 points per game, 1.9 rebounds, 2.8 assists, about a steal a game, and about 1 turnover a game. And he's shooting about 49% from the field and 42% from the 3 line. So that kind of production is coming off your Spurs bench. You got to love it. You really do. And when he gets between 20 and 30 minutes a game, still effective, almost a mirror image, 16.6 points per game, 1.9 rebounds, et cetera, et cetera. So either way you slice it, off the bench, starting role, you're going to get impact. Now, let's just play a game though, Jack. Let's just say Devin is griping and you're the head coach of the Spurs. And he's like, I want to be back in the starting unit. And you're going to honor that. Who do you pull out? Which guy are you going to be saying, what? But so you're back at the bench, Devin, you're in.
Probably Julian, I would say. Tough. I think Castle has become too instrumental to that starting lineup, guarding the best player. He's been our second best offensive threat. He's just been a key component to this team off the bench or off the jump, and he's just getting better and better with every game that goes by. And I'm not taking that confidence away from the young player because, we can see that he's a key cog in this future machine that's trying to win a championship. Julian, I mean, he's been incredible. He's shot the ball so well. He stepped into his starting role from last year being a guy that, didn't even really look like he belonged in the NBA. His growth has just been, it's unbelievable, honestly, what he's been doing. He shoots the ball so well. Maybe you take Harrison off, but I don't know. I really like his veteran leadership. He goes out there. He doesn't take bad shots. He doesn't make mistakes. He plays good defense. He rebounds. He does everything you need from, your veteran presence. So I'd have to lean Julian, even though if I'm the coach, I'm not tinkering with the starting lineup at all right now.
Sure. See, it's funny you say that. If I was coach, I'm taking out Castle. I would take out Castle and throw it on. I need that floor spacing, man. I need to have that out there. I mean, that's what the NBA is all about. You make your threes or you don't. Remember back in the day, it was defense wins games. Dare I say this year or this era, it's the more threes you make, the better chance you got at winning the game.
I don't think trading Julian for Devin, though, really is that much of a jump. I think, he might not make him at a highest clip as Julian, but, I think players on defense respect Devin Vassell more than they do Julian Champagny. So that could give even more spacing.
Well, on the inverse, though, maybe opponents don't respect Julian as much and gives him more spacing too.
That is true. I'm talking about
if you look
spacing
at
for
that-
Wemby, but spacing for Julian, yeah, there's more for open threes.
spacing for Julian. Sorry. I get what you're saying. I'm just looking at that 3-point shooting because the Spurs don't have that much on the
I
roster when
agree.
it comes to consistent 3-point shooting. Julian is by far the best one.
Yeah, he is. Oh, yeah.
Maybe Wemby after that. Maybe Barnes, but
Yeah.
it's tough for me to lose that 3-point threat because
Yeah. So I'm not messing with it at all.
And also too, that starting unit, you don't have many mouths to feed. If you throw Vassell out there, that's probably another mouth to feed.
Yeah,
And,
definitely. I mean, Devin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Devin can come into that second unit and he can take, all the shots he wants because he's the best player on the floor. It's his and Keldon's show to run out there. They are the offense of that second unit. So, yeah, you throw Devin in there, it's going to throw everything off. I mean, Julian, you don't run any plays for him. He catches, offensive rebound, pass outs for threes or wide open swing corner threes. Like that's really his whole offense. So, yeah, I would not mess with the lineup at all.
Not at all. Seriously. And again, that starting unit, you can look at the numbers, look it up yourselves, everybody. It is maybe not the best, but it's among one of the better starting fives. It's elite. Yeah, thank you. And it has everything you need to surround with the Wemby. Exactly. Not many mouths to feed. You got distributors, you got floor spacers, you got defense on the perimeter with Castle. You have it all there. But interesting though. What were you mentioned something in the first segment about Sochan. What were you gonna say? Like, what do you do with him?
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy's back. While he was gone, our team was clicking because there was so much spacing for Wemby. I just don't know how you can bring Jeremy like confidently back into the lineup. Obviously, before he went down in terms of, stats and production, he was arguably our second best player. But since he's, left the lineup, we've seen Castle explode because there's so much more driving space because everyone has to guard the perimeter. You throw Jeremy back in there, it clogs it for Wemby, it clogs it for Castle. It just makes things a little bit more, condensed inside the arc. So I think we might be looking at, our former young core of Devin, Keldon, and Jeremy, coming off the pine and holding it down, which I have no problem with. I think that, like I said before, that is a disgusting bench unit that has 3 legitimate starters in it. So, yeah, I think you leave the starting lineup where it is, and then you let, Dev, Kel, and Jeremy come in and just wreak havoc off the bench. I mean, there's not a second unit in the NBA that can guard all 3 of those guys.
And not to mention, then you have a floor general like Trey Jones just coming and leading that second unit too once he gets back from injury. But it is interesting. Look, I'm pretty sure a lot of NBA teams would love to have this problem right now. What to do with some young budding players that are really, really good, surrounding them with the Wemby there. And the good news is knock on wood, nothing major happens. But if you say there is injuries to that starting unit, imagine that those plug-in players you have off the bench, Keldon,
you got great fill-ins.
You got great fill-ins there. So, hey, Jack and I, we agree that Devin should come off that bench moving forward. What do you think? Do you disagree? What are some numbers that you like to throw at us? You let Jack know on X at Jack_Thompson33. Let me know by simply following the Locked On Spurs YouTube page, leaving your comment there, and subscribing to the Locked On Spurs newsletter description. Or just click the description below and you'll see the link. Click on that and you're good to go. When we get back, we're going to preview tonight's game, Spurs Blazers. Yes, the Spurs are back in action. They got a game versus the Portland. Remember when Scoot was all that? Scoot. You know what? We'll talk about that in a little bit with Jack Thompson. But first, I want to talk to you about FanDuel. Hey, I want to talk to you about FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need and the place where to place live bets on the NFL all in one place.
So you get a hunch in the middle of a game. You can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bet. Just visit FanDuel.com right now to join today. By the way, the app is very easy to use, user-friendly. It's very intuitive and not hard to navigate whatsoever. Sign up is easy. Hey, look, NFL action, as mentioned, is underway. NBA action is underway. Your Spurs are underway right now. What more do you need? Go to FanDuel.com right now to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets. Again, $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. All that takes is just for you to go and sign up right now. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
A Jedi uses the Force. To subscribe to Locked on Spurs, pass on what you have learned.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Jack_Thompson33. That's his handle on X. Go follow it. He is formerly with the San Antonio Sports Star. And we got to soak in every second with him because he might ghost us again, everybody. Not my fault. He might ghost me again. I have the receipts right here. Have them right here on my cell phone. Right here. Jack, we're glad you're back, though, nonetheless. I'm glad you're doing okay. Bringing back those 3 goggles. Hey, Jack, the Spurs and Blazers get going tonight out on the road for the Spurs. So home game for the Blazers. The Spurs enter tonight's game at 12-12. Good 500 record. Are you surprised right now with the Spurs being 500? Or is this kind of par for the course so far?
I think par for the course. I think we've lost. I think what's surprising is we've won games that I thought we would lose, and we've lost games that I thought we would win. But yeah,
Chicago game was good, Lord.
Yeah,
man, that Chicago game was just embarrassing.
Yes.
But
yes,
I think the Spurs are ahead of schedule. I did not expect them to be 500. I thought they'd be hovering around 500, like maybe 2 or 3 games below 500. But to be at 500, in my book, that is progression. The Blazers are 8-16, and one of the worst teams in the NBA. They might be getting a nice little high draft pick this upcoming NBA draft. Whatever happened? What happened to Scoot? Wasn't he supposed to be all that? Oh, him or Wemby, number 1 or 2? It's a win-win. What do you think Scoot hasn't been playing well in Portland?
because he can't shoot. But this was the thing with him coming
Simple as that.
at the draft. This is the thing that's been the problem with him in the league so far. You don't have to really respect his jump shot. And then he's not an insane defender like a Stephen Castle. He's not as big and powerful as a Stephen Castle, just comparing them because Steph is not the best shooter either, but he seems to be way more effective. So, Scoot doesn't have a Wemby on his team. That certainly makes everything much easier on offense. But yeah, I mean, Scoot, not big and powerful, strong guy like Castle, can't just overpower the opposition. And then, I mean, you sag off of him, let him shoot. More often than not, that's going to be, a bonus in your favor as the defense. So he needs work. He just needs time in the lab. I mean, I still think he's going to be a good player, but I'm not sure he'll ever live up to that number 2 overall draft pick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I thought it would be the Wemby Scoot show, for their era, but it looks like Wemby's just gonna be heads up of the rest moving forward.
Yeah.
Unless Chet has something to say about it. I think Chet likely will be in that mix. But as far as tonight's game, obviously for me, the key is just starting off good. That's just been a big issue for the Spurs this year. The first periods are just bad. Now, there was a game recently where they came out with 30-plus points, which is yay Spurs, but they still lost the game nevertheless. So they haven't got it together. Had a chance to talk to Chris Paul about slow starts. Jack, he told me that the key to fixing that first period is just them learning consistency. Like, okay, we can play well in 2 periods, 2, 3, and 4. Let's just be consistent with that. So he's focusing on that. Hopefully the Spurs will be starting off things right, because you don't want to lose to the Blazers. That'd be bad. Now, some things to watch out for, everybody, as you're watching tonight's game. When it comes to assists, at least in the last 5 games for the Blazers, they have recorded fewer assists than the opposition, so that ball isn't really swinging a lot. So hopefully the Spurs will take advantage of that. Also, too, Yeah, it's not a team, right?
It's an AAU team that's put together for a tournament. There's a bunch of ISO guys on this team.
Yeah. Bunch of ice, and the numbers are reflected as that in 5 straight games of fewer assists than the opposition. So Spurs should be able to exploit that. The Blazers are on a 4-game losing skid, and they've lost 2 straight games at home. So history is on the side of the Spurs coming into tonight's game. Now, keep an eye on the 3-point line, though. In the last 2 games, the Blazers have connected on more 3-point makes than their opponent. So hopefully the Spurs can keep an eye on that. All in all, you know, Jack, I look at tonight's game and it should go the Spurs' way. It really should.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely should. This team, like I said, what they're missing is what they thought they were getting in Scoot Henderson. This team just doesn't have a lead guard.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of very athletic, high volume scoring wings. I mean, Shaden Sharp, one of the best young wings in the league.
Yep.
And Fernie Simons, we've seen for years he can fill it up. And then you got Jeremy Grant, guy that's going to be very coveted in the next few days before the trade deadline. They've got DeAndre Ayton. Robert Williams is back. They traded for Denny Advia. I mean, this team has some players.
They got stuff, yeah.
They legitimately don't have a point guard. I mean, Scoot, he is a point guard, but he's just not the floor general that they thought he was going to be. And until he becomes that, this team, I mean, it's almost impossible to win with how few assists they have. I mean, like I said, they're just not a team. This is a group of guys that is trying to get their stats as high as possible so they can be moved to an actual team. That's just the way I see it.
Absolutely. Now, on the Spurs side of things, keep an eye on this. The last 2 games, the Spurs have coughed the ball up more than the opposition, so their turnovers have been spiking a bit in the last couple of games. But all in all, you know, everything's going the Spurs' way in the last few games. They've made, let's see, I got the numbers here. They're getting 3 more 3-point attempts up there, so that's good. That they're trying to realize that we got to connect on these threes. They're gobbling up the offensive rebounding. Get this, Jack, 4 straight games where they recorded more offensive rebounds than the opposition. So those second chance opportunities are there for the Spurs, and they're taking advantage of that. But all the Spurs, effect. Right there, it is right there. Sochan effect. I got the Spurs winning tonight. Jack got the Spurs winning tonight. I hope they win.
Yes, we got to get this dub, get back over 500.
Yeah, because I think they come back home for like a couple of games, and I think there's going to be a stretch where they're on the road like forever. It's like, you know, because their home games are front loaded this year, so there's a lot of home games, and I think in the second half ish of the season, it's a lot of away. I mean, a Paris game. I mean, you can't get more away than that for the San Antonio Spurs. But Spurs Blazers,
it's going to look like a home game.
That's for sure. Yeah, we might as well just chalk it up as a home game. Yeah, exactly. Be a lot of Spurs and Wemby jerseys for those Paris games. He is Jack Thompson, formerly with San Antonio Sports Star. Follow him on X at Jack_Thompson. Jack, don't be a stranger.
I will not, brother. I will not. I will be back.
I actually thought that I did something.
I said, no.
Maybe Jack didn't like something I said the last time I did the recording.
Back in school, moving apartments, just a whole bunch going on. I just hadn't gotten my schedule the way I needed it, but I've been itching to jump back on, my man. So I will be back on regularly for sure. You can.
I just thought you didn't want to follow Jimenez's shadow, and that was you know, and
that goodness. No, that is not true.
I don't think that's true for anybody that comes on here on Locked On Spurs. Again, follow Jack on X at Jack_Thompson33. Do that right now. Hey, we'll be back Monday. All things Spurs, silver and black, all that fun stuff as the season moves on. Subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Ken5 Plus app, YouTube. You know where to go. Locked On Spurs newsletter. It's in the description below. Click on that. Subscribe. It's completely free. A nice little companion piece to Locked On Spurs. So for Jack 3 Goggles Thompson, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.